Hey guys, welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. Blake Weiland's back again with me today, and we have Beard Talk. We talk about standard Wamp tuning, baritone guitars, using software drums, using delays with long delays, and space shuttles, of all things. So let's jump right into it.
Brian Wampler.
That's not me.
Who are you? Who am I speaking with right now?
Some people like to call me Leslie. No,
What have you done? No. People get confused and they think that Brian is the man behind Wampler pedals when really it's Leslie. We don't even know who Leslie necessarily is.
I know. So we're just talking about a good conversation before we pressed record that the audience might really enjoy, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, we really should probably never not be recording, if we're being perfectly honest.
So the whole premise is this. I was growing a beard out thinking, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And made it about a week, and it was uncontrollably itchy. Like I couldn't sit still. I couldn't, there was no sleeping to be had. And so I'm like, screw this.
How is that any different than your normal life?
No, I mean, at this point, I just couldn't even do anything because both my hands were on my face, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I went and grabbed the clippers and I cut it off. So, but what I was telling you is that you're thinking about getting a haircut. I think it might be time to start a new phase of your life.
What do you mean?
The definitely shave December. Mm-hmm.
No, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So a couple weeks ago, I think I complained about this somewhere on the internet. I was given the old face a trim because I need to manage that once in a while, and I slipped.
Like
Ryan.
With your feet slipped out from underneath you?
No, I slipped with my hands.
Did you hit your head and take a bald spot out of your head or something?
No, well, I took a bald spot out of my face. So it was even worse.
So don't stop. Just keep going. Just keep going with it.
That's what I had to do.
So you shaved it all off?
I buzzed it all off. And when I came out of the bathroom and my wife was like, "Wah!"
I thought somebody broke in.
She was like, "That's why'd you do that?" I'm like, I didn't do it.
You're not the man I married anymore.
Well, actually, it is.
Oh wow!
It was more like the man she married, and
I thought I'd gotten rid of you. You're back.
Exactly. Yeah, you're back again. I thought I fixed you already.
Everything I've been doing, you just undid.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was looking at. I kind of looked like a slug or something. I don't know. It wasn't good. I didn't like it at all. And I was like, come on, baby, come on back. And it could not grow back fast enough. It did come back quicker than I anticipated. But man, it was a rough couple weeks to get back to my old self. Then every time I'd walk by the mirror, I'd be like, what? I'd forget about it, for a little bit. Then I'd walk by the mirror and be like, oh yeah, that's me. Okay. So yeah, not gonna try and repeat that mistake. That was not a fun experience.
Huh. Yeah, I've never accidentally done that. I've always intentionally done that. So
yeah.
But I have nothing against beards other than they feel really miserable when they're on my face.
Maybe you got the super coarse hair.
I don't know.
And it causes it because mine doesn't really itch. It itches a tiny bit once in a while, but not not any more than my arm does.
Oh no, this was miserable. This was absolutely miserable. It felt like my hair was trying to curl and grow back into my face. That had to be what it is.
It might have been. Maybe yours, because the hair does do that if it's shaped that way. So
yeah. I'm never doing that again. That's horrible. I'm okay with the 3-day no shaving type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's easier. I'm not around anyone. I don't have any stockholders that I have to be clean shaven, wear my suit and tie to go impress. You know,
Not yet.
not yet, but we're talking. We're talking to some.
We're in talks. This podcast is going to go public.
Yes, it is. I should take the Chasing Tone podcast public.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're gonna offer our we're gonna have an IPO here pretty soon.
That's
Everybody.
right.
So
I'll be a
keep
100 heir in no time.
Oh, you might even be a dollar heir. I don't know if that's a thing. But whatever.
I don't. That doesn't work. No.
Okay, but that's fine. What do you think about? I mean, should this be? We change this whole thing to like Chasing Tone. Now it's just beard talk. Is that what we're gonna do?
Welcome to Chasing the Trimmers with Blake and Brian.
Welcome to Beard Talk, where we discuss your follicles and how they can best shape your life.
Today we discuss is the Fu Manchu really out of style or is it coming back?
Yeah, it's a good band actually, Fu Manchu.
True.
Good. Check them out.
Yep.
Speaking of music and guitars and gear and stuff, I've been up to some shenanigans this week. And last week.
Yep.
I know that
I saw
go ahead.
I saw a Facebook thing you did.
What I do on Facebook. I don't
Well,
remember.
I think it was you. Something about finding a new tuning that you might be into.
Oh yeah, it's not new. It's just new to me.
Well, I didn't mean
played,
like I invented the tuning.
Well, there's guys that have invented tunings before, so I mean, it's
No
not
one's ever
unheard of.
done E flat to E flat. I'm the
Ever.
first.
Yes, that's never been done ever. We call it the Wamp tuning.
The Wamp, yeah. It's always just slightly off. You can't figure out what it is. It's just the hair off.
Everything's just like it's not even. Like it's not like everything's a little bit flat. It's like one's flat and one's a little bit sharp.
Right, yeah, everything's
Yeah.
just completely, yeah. That you play a chord and it sounds like you threw the guitar down the stairs and picked it up and played a chord.
But this looks like a G. Why does it sound this way?
Oh,
Wamp
I'm
tuning,
in Wamp
baby.
tuning. Oh.
I'm in Wamp tuning. Oh, that's good. We're gonna use that. We're gonna use that for a while. I think we're gonna abuse that joke. But no, I think I talked about it last week. I got a baritone made for me by Florian over at Millimetric Instruments, and I've just fallen head over heels in love with A, the guitar because it's immaculate, and B, I've fallen in love with B2B tuning.
So are you doing the fuzz stuff with it as well, or are you playing, like country licks with it, like other people use baritones?
No, I'm not playing. No,
You sure?
No, I'm pretty sure.
You're really sure, huh?
I'm positive
Okay.
that I'm playing with lots of fuzz. Yeah, I'm 100% sure. In fact, I think the first thing I did was what pedal? Oh yeah, very first pedal was the Tomcat pedals green muffler. Plugged it right in and just started going and shaking the walls. It was great. But I have gotten a big kick out of playing clean with lots of reverb, kind of doing some weird post-rock type stuff. It's just I've never messed with that tuning before, and I'm just really enjoying the directions that I go because it's a lot different than what I'm used to.
I've never really messed with a baritone guitar much. I mean, to be honest with you, not like to drop a name, really the only one I've ever played is Brent Mason's. But he uses his in the studio to like double parts.
Right.
Like if you listen to a lot of like Alan Jackson stuff back in the late 90s, there was parts that would be doubled with a baritone or just like a baritone guitar part. And so I played his and I picked it up like, this is weird. This is just like a really low guitar,
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, so I've never had the chance to take one and start applying pedals to it. You know what I mean? So I have no experience in that area. But if you got an extra, I'd be glad to try it out.
If I had an extra baritone laying around, well, I mean, now that you mention it, I kind of sort of do. My 7-string is technically a baritone, although I have it tuned just to drop A right now, which is just like standard tuning with a low A. So it's not actually in what would be considered normal baritone tuning, but it's a longer scale length and could definitely be in something else for sure.
Now so the scale length is longer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm assuming that there's just not the variety of strings for a baritone guitar as there is a standard guitar, right? Or am I way off?
No. So, as far as like just running out to the local store, you're kind of limited for most people. But not to plug a good friend of mine too hard, but Stringjoy.
I wondered if he was doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of fixes that problem. So, he can set you up with his whole thing is having lots and lots of different gauges. So you can that problem, at least as far as electric guitar is concerned, is kind of no longer a problem. So, but
I see.
that's the only. I mean, and then there's another company, but I can't remember their name. Shoot,
That's going to make it hard to buy strings.
it is. There's another company that's been doing it for a long time, and they do the crazy, like at NAMM they have the booth with like the super crazy guitars and basses that have like 37 strings on them. I can't remember the name of that company though.
Yeah. Is it downstairs in the basement?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember the booth, but I don't remember the name of the company.
I can't
So-
think of it. It's something I'd not heard of before NAMM, but they do all that stuff too.
I always like going up to like at NAMM to the people that have guitars like that. They're totally not a country guitar.
Right.
And like totally hillbilly it up. Be like, y'all put G benders in them things? Because I like the guitar, but I'm looking for one where I can bend the G, bend it up and do some chord work,
Right, on their 12-string bass.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's going to drive me crazy. It's right on the tip. Kalium. Kalium is that company. That's the name of it. I forgot. That was going to drive me insane because I was kept picturing the K, but I couldn't remember the Alium. So there's your two sources that I know of for baritone stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I've never done it, so obviously you're going to use it with fuzz.
Well, actually, there's one more. It's just like plugging every string company. All the strings can do it, actually, Brian. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, you just need certain gauges, though. I mean, I get you would want certain gauges. I mean, it's going to sound weird if you take a 46 or something like that and tune that down to low B, right?
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't. It's not.
Be too
recommended
wiry
at all.
sounding. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just would feel weird.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then it would flop all over the place and probably hit the pickup and everything. It's not a good
Right.
idea. But I'm sure I've never seen.
But man, you could bend like 3 steps up.
You totally can.
You get some crazy vibrato, almost like whammy bar dives, just with your fingers.
Right. But I have not seen him do this stuff, but I'm sure he does because his whole thing is like just making, whatever you want. I'm sure Gabriel Tenorio strings also could do it. I've not really seen anybody have a baritone set from him, but I'm pretty confident that that's well within his wheelhouse. So.
Well, they make baritone guitars, so there's some companies out there making baritone strings.
Yes.
Because I doubt, they're not going to say, here's your guitar, but yeah, we couldn't find strings.
Well, I mean, like
You're on your own
the
with that one,
Dario and everybody has a baritone set, but it's like you can't tweak those around the way you can with these other companies.
Yeah. The custom, or let's call it what it really is, boutique strings.
Oh yeah, boutique-y. Everything's boutique.
Boutique strings. Yeah.
When everything's boutique, then nothing is.
We hand make the metal. Actually, we mine it out back.
You do. You mine it out back out of the finest ores.
Right.
We draw it through our very own custom wooden.
Right.
I don't know.
This set of strings is only $4,500. But
It'll be.
gotta have the best.
It's the best. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest, Brian. You're not going to put a $6 set of strings on your guitar, are you?
I know. I mean, what about tone?
Yeah. What about it, man? I mean, you spend a lot of money on your guitar and your pedals and your amp. You gonna neglect the thing that makes the sound? You crazy man. Crazy man. In all seriousness, that's not a bad way to look at it, but hey.
That's true. Yep. Yep.
Anyway, that's after plugging all of the string companies.
We fell asleep for a minute. Like, oh wait, yeah, that's right. What were we talking about?
Sorry, we're podcasting. Beards and Strings podcast. But yeah, that's what's been kind of directing my musical life currently is that guitar and baritone tuning.
Are you still writing a lot of stuff with your band?
No, I really haven't wrote in a long time. I need to. I mean, I've come up with parts and like really weird things most of the time, but I haven't like sat down and gave it a good solid effort at writing a song in a while. I've wrote some riffs, but like as far as like coming up with lyrics and actual like structure, I haven't really, and I need to get back on it.
I've been doing some. Well, I guess you could call it writing. I mean, I'm not like writing it down. I'm just playing it, but and been experimenting with some drum stuff. So I don't know if you saw my Facebook post over Thanksgiving, but I was asking about Easy Drummer versus Superior Drummer versus Logic Pro, the drummer in that.
Oh, that's right. We may have discussed this last time.
I don't remember. So I couldn't get my freaking Logic Pro drummer to work right because I upgraded my Logic Pro because I had to because I upgraded my OS. So anyways, they hit all the drummers on me. So I don't know how familiar you are with Logic Pro X, but
not at all. But okay.
So like the bass drummer, each drummer has a name. So there's like Kyle and John and George and Ringo or whatever.
For real?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like each one has because they have their own style, their own type of kits that they use. I mean, you could change all that.
Right.
But I mean, like, it might say like Kyle is a contemporary pop rock drummer, and so like that's kind of what his feel is kind of going to be versus another guy who's a funk drummer, you know. So anyways, so they've given these guys names, and Kyle is the default drummer. And like with the old version, it like whenever you put your drums in, whenever you loaded your drums up, it would say like, here's all the drummers available. And so it was very easy. Well, apparently they decided that's way too easy for guitar players. We need to hide this function. So I thought my software was broken because Kyle was the only one working. I couldn't find anybody else. I'm like, where'd all my drummers go?
Oh, well,
You know?
that's a typical drummer, right? They're playing in so many bands.
And that's what people were saying. Like, you don't, like, this is real life. You only get one drummer. You know, I mean, like, that's just what you get. And you be glad you got that one.
Right. Well, I think what they were doing with this latest update was trying to simulate real life as best they could.
Right.
That's what they were doing.
Exactly. So finally, one of the users on Facebook, on our Facebook tone group, I was telling him, well, I was voicing my frustration with not being able to find where my drummers are. And so he's like, oh, well, you have to go up here to the top left, next to this button, click this, do this, turn right, do a backflip, pinch your nose, and, you know, like all this stuff. And now you can have your choice of drummers. So, right. But then before that, I already had downloaded Easy Pro Drummer, or at least the trial version of it. So I'm really going to go through both. Anyways, so I got the two different drummers because it's two, like, all kinds of different styles where when I write, I tend to find a cool drum beat and just start riffing off that. You know what I mean? And, right. and just build little part by part from there. And the whole thing is, like, I'm not making an album or anything like that. I really don't know why I'm doing it other than it's fun. You know?
Well, you don't need any other reason than that.
That's not like me, though. Usually there's a reason. Like, I'm writing something because we're playing at the band and we're thinking of going in and recording something, and so we need songs and blah, blah, blah.
Sometimes you just got something in you and you got to get it out.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's a whole different thing. So, yeah, completely different. Bought a bunch of impulse responses, a bunch of them. I talk about those enough, so you know what I'm talking about there. And I bought a 2-notes captor. That's basically a fancy load box that allows me to run any amp into it and then out to my DAW. That way
Sweet.
I can apply any sort of speaker cabinet to it that I have.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like all these little DSP nerdy things I've been getting into. And it's mostly centered around my writing. So anyways, yeah, that's been my tone and gear chase for a little while now.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that 2-notes captor is pretty good. It's really, I mean, it's surprising. Some attenuators sound really flat and lifeless, And this one, there's like this certain quality of clipping when you turn an amp, like a non-master volume amp, when you turn it up. There's this type of clipping that I can't even describe, but it's just different. It's kind of gravelly almost. Anyways, you get all that, and you also get the actual, like, the compression, and it feels and sounds with a good IR just like you got a great cabinet mic'd up. So, and of course, since you're using impulse responses, I have 500 different cabinets I can choose from with 8 different mics on each one. So it's really cool if you like to tinker with stuff.
I do like to tinker with stuff. No, me? No, I just like to plug straight in. Just plug straight in. That's all you need. That's all you need, bro.
As much as I talk about impulse responses, maybe we ought to start coming out with them. This is our newest line of Wampler responses. Yeah, we remade impulse responses into something that we do only.
Wampler responses, wouldn't that just be what you say back to me when I say something dumb?
Wampler responses would be, it'd have about a 15-minute latency on it, because I'm 15 minutes late to everything.
We got Wampler responses, such as...
the grocery store response. That's about 25 minutes late on that one.
What do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know. What do you want for dinner tonight? That sounds like a wonderful, wonderful selling product.
Right.
To me.
That one just keeps repeating your same note to you. Yeah. It's almost like a delay, like a delayed delay. Yeah. So
we got a 400-second delay.
Oh, yep. There's a market for that. I'm convinced.
Well, that does bring something up, actually. Something that I personally feel, and I know there's a lot of people who will disagree with this, but I see a lot of people be like, they it's not always the case, but there's been certain people that are very vocal about the fact that they need like 1100 milliseconds of delay time, right? Mm-hmm. They're like 600 isn't enough. I gotta have at least 1100. It's like, there are very few situations in which you're using a delay, in my opinion, that you need that much. Like, I think when you get like much past like 800, like you're almost getting into looper territory at the second mark.
Yeah, I think personally as a player, I think a second is way more than enough. And honestly, I'm usually hanging out somewhere between 400 and 600.
Me too, most of the time. I can get up to 8, 9, maybe, for doing weird, like, washy stuff.
Yes, yeah, definitely for that. Yeah,
but
if I'm playing, the pentatonic scale, then it's about 400 millihertz. It's about 400 millihertz. Milliseconds.
Right. I mean, that's just my thing. Like, I seen when the Chase Bliss Tonal Recall first came out, a lot of people were like, but it's only 600 milliseconds. I'm like, dude, really? Like, yeah. It has all of this stuff, and you're going to complain that it's only 600 milliseconds. Okay.
Well, we still get that on some of our delays where, people are like, yeah, but the such and such is 16 seconds or 20 seconds. I'm like, okay, you're going to use that once. Like, and then you're like, I can't do anything with it. It's a great sound. It's just, I can't really apply it to playing anything.
Yeah. And I'm not bashing on gear that can do that. I just think it's kind of funny that some people think they need it when they realistically are probably hanging out around 400 to 600 most of the time with a delay.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, there's always the caveats where you may need something in 3 seconds just to get a totally different type of effect. But
then, like I said, aren't you getting into looper territory at that point?
Yeah, you kind of are. But the vast majority of people that are buying delays aren't looking for 3-second delays. At least from every piece of data I've seen.
Yeah. How much data would you have seen about pedal sales? Oh.
Well, there was this one article on the internet that I read once.
Yeah.
It was on the gear page, so it's totally true.
That said, this actually brings up something we were talking about earlier, which I unintentionally segued into rather nicely. Speaking of ridiculous long looper delay things, I have been playing doing weird stuff with the reissue of the Electro-Harmonix 16-second digital delay. I don't know if you've seen those or not.
What's it called?
The Electro-Harmonix 16-second digital delay. Which is that, but honestly it's a little bit of a misnomer because it's really just like a looping instrument, weird, crazy thing that like nobody like uses that for their delay sound that I know of. Like one of the most famous users is probably Nels Cline from Wilco, and he uses it as like a noise machine that he like moves the sliders with his elbow and stuff while he's rocking out. Like it's a crazy thing. But I've been using the MIDI output of that to control the hologram dream sequence and getting some really crazy patterns. It's been weird. I still haven't fully wrapped my head around how it works, but it's been a fun process. So
very cool. Yep. So so you're syncing up your tempo with the MIDI, basically, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And then the way that delay works with delay loop or whatever the heck it actually is, I don't know. It's you can control different parts of the loop at different times and different frequency. It's super weird. I'll just have to show it to you.
Yeah. So like our Doctor pedal, our purple Doctor pedal, that was the delay that was released this summer. If you look at the front of that next to the power jacks,
right?
Power jacks. Yeah, all the power jacks, input, output jacks, and the power jack right on the front. You'll see two little 1/8-inch jacks. And I know what you're saying to yourself. You're like, Brian, why would you put two 1/8-inch jacks there? That's a good question. So I'm glad you asked.
So I can plug my like headphones into it.
That's
right?
for your iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not. So we're going to be making several pedals that have these jacks on them that you can run. It's going to be basically, I think it's a stereo. Pretty sure it's stereo. Little 1/8-inch cable from one pedal to the other. And so let's say you have a tremolo, a delay, a phaser, a univibe. You know, let's just throw them all in there, and you want to sync them all up. Now, normally, what would a guy do? He would have to tap each one and hope he's right on the money, right?
Mm-hmm. Or get some sort of crazy looping system involved,
right? Or you can use MIDI. The way we're doing it is with these cables, and that way, any of those pedals that have tap tempo, if you just tap any of those, it'll sync them all up.
That's super cool.
So that'll be fun.
And I legit did not know about this before today, so I'm just as
surprised.
shocked as you all are.
I'm surprised actually, because I thought that'd be a fun little thing to do on some upcoming pedals. I literally have so many pedals that are coming out, it's ridiculous. And we put out too many this year, to be totally honest. We really did. And I know that's weird because, there's other companies that put them out more often than we do. But it's, we put out the Paisley Drive Deluxe October, and then the Tumnus just came out around Thanksgiving, which is 3 weeks later. Way too close especially with retailers and ordering and getting things in the hands of retailers and all that fun stuff. I don't. So I guess I say that to say this. With all these new designs I'm sitting on, I'm trying to think, what's the best way to get these out? Because if I don't, it's going to be like 8 years later. And I'm like, oh, and here's this delay I designed in 2017. I know
Brian,
no one even plays guitar anymore. But
we've all uploaded our brains to the cloud. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Like, we don't use physical pedals. We're in the VR world now,
We don't even use our bodies.
And I'm like, but you don't understand. This pedal was great in 2017.
Brian's just wandering around the abyss while we're all in our pods.
I'm just sitting there looking at, looking at people sitting on the couch in the black, glasses or whatever, black goggles.
I was picturing more like the scene out of The Matrix where everybody's just in the pods. And you just uploaded your consciousness. And you're like Morpheus tapping on the glass. Hey, Hey, I got a pedal for you.
Take the red pill. I got a pedal.
Wonder if we could get somebody to draw us up a comic or something of this actually happening. That would be pretty funny.
That would be funny. So I don't know.
Hey, EQD can put out comics. Why can't Wampler? Come on.
That's a good question. They're more talented than I am.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna no comment.
No, Jamie's a super sweet guy. Just he's got this area of talent that I just don't have. You know, one of those being like, I don't know, the whole comic thing. I mean, myself, I've never really been into comics ever.
Yeah, I don't even know why we talk to each other.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of weird. I mean, you would think that I would be.
I would have thought that you would be.
Yeah.
It seems like a thing you would be comic books.
Yeah, it never really was, man.
It's kind of interesting. I super like comic books. I'm not as into them as I used to be, at least like not as into like the superhero stuff. I still like it a lot, but not as much as I used to be. But now I'm like getting into all these weird like horror fiction graphic novels and stuff.
Yeah, see, that's another weird thing about me. I don't like to read anything or watch anything that's negative at all in any nature. So,
except YouTube comments.
Except YouTube comments. So yeah, like even watching movies, like it has to be something that's funny, or well, basically comedy. That's the only kind of thing I can watch, because it affects me too much. It really messes with my head, like big time. So
I'm gonna recommend you stay away from David Lynch movies then.
Yeah, there's so many movies I just can't watch, and I've tried before, and I literally have to I can't watch this. I just get up. I can't watch this. This is really messing with my head. So it actually starts affecting me emotionally. Like I put myself actually into those positions, like emotionally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's there's probably something wrong with me.
You can't be an observer.
I can't. No, I can't. With movies and anything I read, like anything fictional or story based at all, I get into it so much that I put myself in that character's spot, and I'm like, I feel everything that he or her's feeling. It's really messed up. I can't separate. I can't just watch. It's weird.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of weird.
And I think because even as a young kid, when I got into something, I was full bore into it. So I'm 7 years old. And you don't know, no one knows this. So you're going to think this is funny.
All right.
7 years old. I decided I wanted to be an astronaut. So
seems reasonable.
That would seem reasonable. So I went to the library, rented every book about space, astronomy, that anything to do with NASA or the Space Shuttle or the Apollo program or any of that stuff.
Right.
I would read sentence by sentence and break it down and write notes and all this other crap. And eventually I got into it so much, my dad built me a space shuttle.
What? No way.
Yeah, out of wood.
That's so cool.
And when I say he built me a space shuttle, he built me a 22-foot long freaking space shuttle.
Oh, that is so awesome. That is so cool.
Space shuttle, 24 feet long or whatever it is, and made out of wood. It's the newspaper came out and took pictures of it because they're like, "What are you guys building? Are you building an airplane? What is this? A jet?" And like, no, it's a toy space shuttle for my son. Like that's not weird at all.
It's not weird.
What other 7-year-old has a space shuttle built out of wood? But I mean,
it's not weird. It's amazing. I love that. That's so cool.
And see, my dad actually would he repairs, buys and sells airplanes, like smaller aircraft, like Cessnas,
like real ones.
Yeah. So he had a lot of experience with like actually building and manufacturing aircraft stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So even though he made out of wood, like the cockpit had all like real airplane controls. Like you couldn't fly it. It was just sitting still, right?
Right. That sounds amazing.
But
though.
it was still like you get into it. It had a cockpit with seats, and it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
I would have freaked out on something like that. That sounds so fun. Even as an adult, I go play in there right now.
So I say that to say when I really get into something, I really, really, really get into something. And that's why I suck at a lot of things, but like 3 things. You know?
And that's why you can't watch horror movies.
That's why I can't. I get into it way too much, and I can't control that. I just can't.
That's understandable. I mean, and movies. I mean, certain people who are really into art stuff might disagree, but I think that like film and movies and things like that are generally made to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
And that takes different forms for different people. I really enjoy horror movies, but they don't scare me. I'm not saying that things don't scare me. Lots of stuff scares me, but like scary movies don't bother me at all. And so I've always liked them ever since I was a little kid. Oh, wow. And don't get me wrong, they scared me when I was a little kid, but now I just really enjoy them for some reason. But I don't get to watch them very often because my wife is more like you.
Really?
She's not like that. They just really freak her out.
I don't get scared. I get. I mean, like I know it's fake, but I feel everything emotionally that character is going through. I identify with that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, on a really weird level where. Like when I say it'll affect me for days, weeks. I mean, I even there's some movie. Actually, there's a movie I'm thinking of off the top of my head I've watched probably 15 years ago. I still can't watch it again. It's still. In fact, my wife said something about watching it the other day. I'm like, no, I'm not watching that. Nope, not doing it. And it's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, you're just gonna have to trust me on this. Last time I watched that movie, I was depressed for like 10 years.
Gee whiz. Okay. Well, then I would suggest just not. It's not worth it. Definitely not worth it.
Oh, yeah. So there's some weird things about me, man.
Well, I know that, but actually I feel like we've had this conversation off mic before, not like a year ago, because this is starting to sound very familiar.
I don't know. Maybe this is deja vu and the Matrix has changed. I don't know.
Oh, we're in the Matrix. That's right. Do I take the blue pill or the red pill? Whichever one leads me to fuzz pedals.
That's right. Whichever one leads me to the real fuzz, not some digital interpretation of it.
That's right. Speaking of you, I just thought of something. You really should get a baritone because the Velvet Fuzz and the Leviathan sound really good with the baritone. So
I wondered about that. The old Leviathan.
Leviathan sounds. It's like like just tearing people's faces off.
Well, that's not good. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Well, in a good way, in a kind way.
No, there was one for sale in a Nashville shop. What is it? I think it's guitareffectspedals.com or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, there was one for sale in the shop, and I'm like, holy cow, you don't really see too many Leviathans, Mm-hmm. And apparently it sold pretty quick. But I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit that another time. There's another fuzz I just completed, and I can't wait for that one to come out. That's going to be really cool.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You'd love this one. You would love. So if the Velvet is like the hors d'oeuvre,
mm-hmm.
then this fuzz is like the main course. You know what I mean? It's just it's all kinds of fuzzy goodness. It's not polite. It's not a polite fuzz. So the Velvet is kind of like, it's the fuzz for people that don't like fuzz. This is the fuzz for people that love fuzz and hate people who like overdrives. You know?
Ooh, it's me. It's me. It's me. I do want to say something though about the Velvet that I may have said before on the old mic, but mm-hmm. You bill it as this nice velvety smooth thing, which it definitely does, and that's definitely its forte. But it can rip.
Yeah, it can.
Like,
yeah.
It really can get heavy, and it takes drop tuning and stuff really well.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's
and
pretty
bass.
gnarly.
Played bass through it before. It's pretty fun.
And it's I like stuff like that and the Leviathan, things that are like totally unique circuits, because I don't know, man. And nothing against people that do the fuzz faces or big muffs or tone benders or whatever, but there's just so many, you know. There's so many companies that do it. I don't know. I just like unique circuits, I guess. I'm not a big fan, even though we have done some clones here lately. I really don't like it as much as I like creating something new. But
It's understandable.
you know, then again, when everyone's crying for a specific type of circuit, you got to put that out. You know, you got to put out you have to put out at least your version of it. So
You got to give the people what they want.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I don't have any. I don't know. What am I trying to say here? If I'm putting out a blues breaker or something like that, I'm going to put my spin on it. You know,
Right.
It's not going to be a direct clone from the Marshall pedal, I guess. But I don't know. That's just my thought.
It's a good thought.
So you want to wrap this up? Any final thoughts before we head out of here?
I don't want to wrap it up, but I guess you probably have to.
I've got a full, what's that, 12, 16 ounces of coffee in me, and it's wanting to come out.
Okay. Well, don't throw up. That'll ruin your microphone.
It's not wanting to come out that way. No.
No, I understand. Final parting thoughts for today is, I don't know. This was kind of a weird episode.
It was.
It was very on topic.
Beard
sometimes.
talk, Wamp tuning, baritone guitars, software drums, delays with long delays, and space shuttles.
Yes, this was a weird one. But it was like it's like 60% on topic, which is also weird. But when we went off, we went way off.
I have no idea how we're going to title this.
We're going to title it "Beards, Space Shuttles, Baritone Tuning."
All right. So, well, thanks for joining me again. Thanks for joining me again, Blake. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to do it. I'll talk to you next time, and probably next time I'm actually going to see it is at NAMM, right? I'm not going to see it before then.
Yes, NAMM is pretty 6 weeks? 6 weeks away.
It's going to be here like tomorrow.
I should probably book my flight.
No, you haven't booked your flight yet.
Nope.
Oh, how am I ahead of you? And I've got my Airbnb. I'm staying in a tree house. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we're not doing anything fancy like that.
It's a lot cheaper. I love me some Airbnb. It's not like fancy, but it's cool.
I've thought about it, but I like hotel. I know we said we're going to wrap this up, but I like hotels that have good coffee that I don't have to make. You know, that's really my criteria for picking a hotel. One, I want to be about a mile away from the convention center. Okay,
that's reasonable.
So I can have quiet time, and then the coffee has to be fantastic. That's pretty much it.
Well, you're an easy man to please. I think there's probably a lot of places in that area that will accommodate you.
Yeah. But that's the bad thing about a B&B, which is kind of bed and breakfast. An Airbnb,
which is a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, but
not a bed and breakfast. You know, not a hotel, but a place where you sleep for the night.
Right. You know, only for one night though.
Yeah.
You know, not a hotel though.
Sometimes, yeah. Anyway,
you can tell I haven't slept in like 2 days.
I can.
Yeah, my brain is all over the place. So that's what I don't like about the Airbnb sort of thing is that I got to make my own coffee. You know?
Sometimes
they have coffee there. They bring you coffee.
It all depends on your host.
Really?
Like when we stayed at one in Memphis, the host literally brought us bagels. Like in the morning, like they didn't live there. It was like a separate residence thing where they rented it out, you know, for income. And they drove over from wherever they lived in Memphis and like brought us bagels in the morning. Like some of the hosts are amazing.
Huh.
So you never know. You just kind of read the reviews and you can get a good feel for what you're getting into. I love Airbnb. Love it.
I might try that out one time.
You could come rent out the shred shed one of these days. You come sleep out here.
Who's the man in our backyard, Blake? Oh, that's Brian. Don't worry about
That's
him.
Brian. Don't worry about it.
By the way,
He needs some coffee.
yeah. By the way, you need some coffee. If you can make that real quick, that'd be great. I promised him it
boy.
was in the contract. All right, so we threatened to leave.
Okay.
Have a great week.
Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Chasing Tone podcast. Really appreciate it. I hope everyone likes it. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email them to me at podcast@wamplerpedals.com. And also make sure you check out our groups on Facebook, the Wampler Pedals Tone Group and Blake's group, the Tone Mob. And again, thanks again. Appreciate all you guys. We'll talk to you next week.